Welcome to the new Wittenberg Radio. I'm your host, Peter Wiebe, and today we're starting a new chapter in the history of Wittenberg. I once came to this school, and I started this very show. When I started this show, I had the intent to keep it more Protestant-oriented. But more recent hosts have strayed away from that. I warned them. I left a note on the Wittenberg door to warn them. But they did not change. So I had to correct them. I had to reform them. As unfortunate as last week's events were, it was a needed change, and I believe both Claudia and Kenji are happy with how the show is going now. It is sad what happened last week, but that is in the past, and this is the new. So, let us look at upcoming events. The first event that's coming up is the Reformation Day. Today is a big day for numerous denominations. It is a day when Martin Luther nailed his 95 Theses on the Wittenberg door. So go out and have a fun time. Perhaps maybe even nail a few of your own theses on people's doors as a way of paying tribute. And now time to talk about other fun events on campus. Before I give my 2-hour sermon about why the Protestant Reformation was needed.
Where am I? Oh, jeez. It's so dark in here. Hello? 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 Oh, God, okay. Sheesh. Hello?
Kenji?
Oh, Claudia!
Kenji!
Oh, my God.
You're here!
How are you? Are you okay?
I'm okay, but I'm pretty freaked out. Are you freaked out? I'm freaking
I'm
out!
totally freaked out.
Oh, boy.
What happened? What happened, okay?
I don't know what happened. Do you know what happened?
Like, you walked into here, whatever this place is, and then the door shut, and then it opened, and then some weird ghostly figure came in, totally knocked me out, and now I just woke up in here.
Ghostly figure? I think I got tackled by one in this place, and then I blacked out, and then I woke up here.
Oh my God. Okay. Claudia, this might sound a little crazy, but I think that thing that knocked us out, I think that was Peter Wiebe.
Like, from my church?
I know there's 100,000 Peter Wiebes, all right? But I'm thinking Peter Wiebe, the guy who left that note on Wittenberg door last month.
Peter Wiebe, eh?
Yeah.
Huh. Why? Why would he want that?
I don't know. Maybe he didn't like how the show was going. Maybe he wanted to change the show because, he was the creator of the Wittenberg door. But I don't know. I have a bad feeling about this. That's all I'm saying. I don't know.
Do you think he's controlling our show?
Maybe? Look, we need to get back. Oh. You see that? Oh, crap. I think that's him.
Oh, I see him.
Just shh.
Peter Wiebe. Can't you? No. Wait, no. That's not him.
No, it's not. Wait. Is that a Huguenot? A French Huguenot?
It's a Huguenot.
Wait. There's another figure behind him. I think that's a Calvinist.
Is he Dutch?
I don't know. Maybe he's Swiss.
Why would there be? No.
Like
Swiss? Maybe. It's not
Wait.
important.
Wait a
Wait.
second.
Did that guy just say Zwingli?
Oh my God, I think he did. Wait. Are those some soldiers from the 30 Years' War?
I think they are.
Wait, Claudia.
What?
Are we in some kind of Reformation Zone? Okay. We need to get out of here. I see the door over there. Let's maybe try opening it at least.
Come on.
Of course.
It's
It's
locked.
locked. Yeah. Of course. It makes a lot of sense. You would lock us out, Yeah. Okay.
It's a smart one, that Peter Wiebe.
Yeah. Well, I guess we should look around for some keys, I guess, because there's a keyhole here.
Yeah, that's usually how locks work.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. I don't need your smart assery right now. Okay, we're stuck here. All right, we got to find a way to get out.
Well,
Is
we
that-
gotta ask someone.
Well, yeah. Is that a church over there?
Looks like it.
Maybe we should see. I don't know. May as well start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Preachers are usually pretty nice.
Okay. Well.
They're like on Earth to help people.
Yeah.
If this even is Earth.
Oh my God.
Let's
right.
go ask.
Okay. Okay. This is a very interesting church, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all like old and stuff.
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Man, that organ music is kind of creeping me out a little.
Hey, what if we make that our music pick of the week?
Claudia, what are you talking?
Yeah?
Hi.
Who are you?
Sorry. We didn't mean to intrude. My name's Kenji.
I'm Claudia.
Where?
And what are you doing here?
Where? This might sound a bit bizarre, but we were in we were at this place called CMU just a few days ago. But we're like. We've been wandering around trying to figure out a way to get back. We went through this door through our studio into this weird place, and we're not trying to get back at all.
You want to get back?
Yeah.
Why don't you just stay here?
Oh, well, that's, look, we really appreciate it, but, we're not...
Well, this is a church after all. What's the problem with being here?
Good point. But see, we have a bit of a situation. We didn't come here voluntarily. Someone from here, whatever this place is, we think his name is Peter. He forced us into this place and is like taking our place back at the studio. So we need to go back and take it back, take the studio back and take the show back, because we're also radio show hosts. If you need to know.
Radio show hosts.
Yeah.
We need to get back to our story.
Those, troublemakers, yeah, weird questions, that sort of thing.
Right. That I never thought about it in that way, but
Important questions that further on the Reformation.
The Reformation. Ah, now that's an interesting topic. Reformation.
yeah.
Did you know it's Reformation Day?
It.
Is it?
Oh, right. It
know?
is. Oh, yeah. No, yeah, right. It's October 31st. See, I normally think of this thing as Halloween, but I totally.
Yeah,
it's right.
typical. You guys are typical. Halloween.
Yeah. I guess we are. Oh yeah, that's right. Huh. Okay then. Interesting. But anyways, I'm just wondering, would you have a way for us? Do you know any way for us to get back to our studio room at CMU?
Well, I do happen to have some keys that might work.
Okay.
It's a master key, actually, that I've got.
Oh, great. Oh, that's amazing.
Can
Thank
we
you so
have
much.
that?
Yeah. Can we?
Well, I'll tell you what. If we talk about the Reformation a little bit,
Okay.
All right.
maybe we can make a deal.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
fair enough.
Why not? That'd be worth thinking about.
I
this.
think I do have some questions.
Okay. All right. Well,
Okay.
I guess we'll sit down at a pew over here and.
All right, let's go.
Let's get talking.
I am thinking about the Reformation these days, as many people are. It is 500 years since Martin Luther posted his 95 Theses on the Wittenberg door. And something that I am wondering is, why should I care? 500 years later, why is the Reformation still relevant in our society? And what do you think about that?
That's a very good question. There's lots of people that are asking that very question. Partly because denominations don't matter an awful lot so much as it may have been the case at one time. People are not worried about theological arguments the way people were worried about these things 500 years ago. The world has changed. A lot of people don't believe in anything, don't believe in religion, so for them, of course, it's not very, very important at all. I think Reformation is important on at least on two levels. One is that when we think of Western civilization, if we think of even Western democracy, if we think about modernity, and wonder how we got to where we are, I think the Reformation played a significant role. It's not the only thing that played a role, but it's quite clear that in the 16th century, the kinds of ideas that were being floated around, people thinking about democracy, people thinking about thinking independently, thinking about autonomy, individual autonomy, those kinds of values, whether we might even critique them today, they really have their roots in this time period. Not only this time period, but certainly the Reformation played a significant role. And secondly, Reformation, for Christians at least, was a reminder in the West about the centrality of faith and grace, a gift from God, and also the importance of reform. And for Luther, reform meant liturgical reform, it meant religious reform, it meant spiritual reform, it also meant social and political reform. So those are kinds of things I think that, for Christians at least, it's worth thinking about and considering further.
Right. And I guess those are all things that really do affect us in our daily lives. And maybe we just don't attribute those to the Reformation. That's
Not right away, that's right. Yeah.
Right. Do you think it had to be Martin Luther that did this?
Well, it wasn't only him, and
Right.
and so he's just one player, and gets a lot of press time, and especially, today, when we're thinking about 500 years, there were multiple players. There were social and political and economic factors that played a role. So, I mean, historians today will also spend a lot of time thinking about those kinds of those kinds of factors that got people to start thinking differently. So Luther came at the right time, and he was at the right place at the right time, and as I say, there were many other people involved in this. There were peasants, there were other leading reformers, intellectuals, and so forth. So it was a chorus of actors involved.
All right. Yeah, that's interesting, because often, yeah, as you say, he gets a lot of the press, and maybe rightly so, but also there were others involved, definitely. Do you think that Martin Luther and these others that played an important role, did they have the intent to spark such a large and influential Reformation? Did they intend for it to be as big as it became?
That's a really good question. I'm not sure. I think some of them had, grandiose or had big ideas about where this was all going. Although I think many of them thought that the world was coming to an end. So, you can't have long-range, big, grandiose plans if you think the world is coming to an end next week or next month, or maybe in 1533 when you're living in, say, 1520, that sort of thing. I mean, I think one thing that they didn't count on or even plan on necessarily was that the church would end up being fractured. I mean, I think this was not part of the plan, not part of the strategy, not part of the ideal, not part of the vision. Certainly not for Luther in 1517. He wasn't thinking about that. And that was a kind of an unfortunate or unintended consequence of a variety of factors. He played a role in it, but there were others as well.
Were there any attempts at reconciliation or peacefully making this transition from the actors as well as then the Catholic Church?
Yeah, there were attempts. 20 years later, in the 1530s, 1540s, there were attempts between Protestants and Roman Catholics to work at reform, but it didn't work out so well. There was, the Peace of Augsburg, I think, in 1555, which basically said, we'll leave it up to the princes to decide whether a particular state or province is going to be Catholic or Protestant, and we'll leave it at that. But there were actually some pretty bad conflicts. There were military conflicts, and there were princes and political leaders that used the religious division as an excuse for fighting and taking over and for causing conflict. So that did not work out that well. And then in the 17th century, there was the 30 Years' War, which was absolutely devastating for parts of Central Europe. It was just wiped out so many people. So it wasn't really until the modern period, and really, it's not really, it's only in the ecumenical age in which we live today, but beginning already in the 20th century, where Protestants and Catholics began to get serious about reconciliation. And in some ways, I think Vatican II, on the part of Roman Catholics, starting in 1962, there was a lot of good language in that conversation from the Roman Catholic side that I think opened the way for communication between the two groups.
Do you think that this lengthy process was necessary to establish the different denominations? I mean, I guess this is the way that it happened, and maybe wondering if it was necessary is not helpful. But you can't help but wonder if I feel like many people have been turned away or killed over these things, and it wouldn't be the story that it is if it didn't happen that way.
Yeah, I mean, one way of looking at the Reformation is that you could look at it as a tragedy. because it fractured the church. And after that, it just continued to, particularly on the Protestant side, to there were ongoing fractures that just continued, and now we have thousands of denominations. So that, I mean, theologically, I think that's a real problem. I mean, Christians, I think, have a real problem on their hands, particularly Protestants, explaining why this might be a good thing, why the Protestant Reformation is a good thing. Maybe it's a very, very bad thing that happened. And I mean, I tend to push students to think about that, and to think about how serious a matter it was. So nobody doubts, Roman Catholics wouldn't dispute the fact that reform was needed in the 16th century. That's not the issue, but the issue is how do we live with difference? And unfortunately, I mean, I think that's a key question back then, and it's a key question today, and I think Christians have not done a very good job of addressing that.
So do you think it's worth celebrating?
I don't know if it's worth... I think there are parts of the Reformation that are worth celebrating. I think there are parts of the Reformation that are worth lamenting. And I think... I think commemorating and remembering well is key, I think. And remembering well means also to be, I think, then also critical of actually what took place. So it's a both and. It's a yes and a no as far as celebration goes.
Fascinating. Yeah. I have one last question for you that maybe pertains more to our present time. Something that I guess taking Intro Christianity courses that everyone has to at CMU, we talk about big shifts in the story of the church, and they seem to happen in 500-year increments. There's your Constantinian shift, and then the Great Schism, and then the Reformation, and I feel like now we're at this 500 point. If this is a logic that we want to maybe embark on or follow, what do you think would be our next great shift? I'm just curious. This isn't... there's no right answer.
Yeah, well, people have talked about this, that
Right.
there is this big shift every 500 years. It's a kind of a handy thing to bring out, or it's a kind of a weird thing to talk about. Is that really the way things work?
Right.
It almost sounds deterministic, right,
Yeah.
in some ways. I mean, I think we are going through a shift now, and whether it's remarkably different than what happened or what's been happening over a 500-year period, or whether something has really changed. I mean, for example, today people will say that the institutional church is being criticized and it is under threat. But that actually already began exactly during the Reformation period. That was part of what the Reformation was about. It was that there were a lot of people that were being anti-institutional at the moment. So whether we're now going through another big shift, certainly, we experience secularism in North America, but even the thesis that we're moving into a secular age, that is being countered by the fact that Christianity and religion is actually growing in many parts of the world. In most parts of the world, maybe we don't experience it quite so much in the North American context, and yet when you look at particularly immigrants who are coming to the Canadian context, they are, in a sense, I think they are revitalizing the church. Most immigrants that come to Canada are very religious, and so we'll see what happens, particularly as I think watching that influence is going to be interesting in the years to come.
Nice, fascinating. All right, well, thank you for your insight and your knowledge on this topic, and for gracing us with your presence.
Well, thanks. It's good to talk to you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So there's the conversation. So, here are the keys. You can have them, I guess.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Good conversation. I now know more about this, about
Yeah,
about
it
the
wasn't a
significance of
bad
this.
conversation. I
Right.
mean, the questions were a little bit iffy, but...
Right.
So here are the keys. Take them with you. You're heading back, to CMU?
Yeah.
Yeah, in Winnipeg. I mean, if you know what that is, Canadian Mennonite University. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, watch yourself. That's a strange place.
We will.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you again so much. Okay. Let's get going.
All right. Safe travels.
Okay. Well, that was an interesting conversation.
Sure was.
Huh.
Fascinating. Well,
Well-
at least we got the keys.
Yeah. No, for sure. I guess we'll go back to the door now and. No. Wait a second. We have to think about this. Are we just gonna barge in? Like, Peter's probably there right now, waiting for us.
That's
Even.
a good point.
Like,
And he took us down last time. We gotta
Yeah.
be prepared.
no, for sure. What could we do though?
Hey, look! Are those swords?
Yeah. Weird. These must be swords from the 30-Year War.
It's pretty convenient.
Oh. This is morally spooking me out. We don't want to hurt him.
No, we won't hurt him.
Okay.
We won't hurt him.
We'll just...
We'll just go in with the
Well,
swords and see
yeah.
what happens.
Okay. So we'll be using light intimidation. Is that what you're thinking?
Well, we can't just go in
Right. No, of course.
the way we are.
Yeah, because we'll obviously be kicked out again, and probably even worse circumstances. These are necessary. I guess. But we just... Look, okay, look.
We don't have time.
Look, yeah,
We don't have time to think this all
I know.
through.
Yeah, right. We'll just go in. We'll just tell them to get out, or as best we can, and we'll go from there.
Okay. No time to think.
Just don't think about this. All right.
Let's
Okay.
just go.
Okay. All right. I got the keys here. Here we are. You ready to do this?
Let's do this.
And now, it's time to talk about upcoming events. This week, the new Wittenberg will be hosting a John Calvin-themed game of Twister. Only those within the living church will be able to participate. Those who are not are doomed and will go to hell.
All right, Peter. That's a wrap. I'll take it from here. Get back here! I can't take him alone!
I can't take it! Did you lock it?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Okay. Oh. See you next week.
Wait, can't you? You can't just leave.
What do you mean?
Well, we gotta do something.
Yeah, well, we've done something. We've locked him back into the room.
No, but I mean, how do we make sure no one ever does that again? How do we sure no one ever opens the door. It's gonna be our successors, student council, Marilyn. How will they know not to open the door? We can't have Peter Wiebe storming in.
Okay. No, I see what you mean. Okay. What do you propose?
Do we have a hammer? What do you think?
That should do it.
That'll do.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I'm gonna see what my family's been doing for the last week.